Hey guys, it's Erin, and I'm back with another mixed media menagerie challenge with the lovely Laura and Nicole. So here is this month's creating parameters, and I'm kind of excited to dive in and see what we're going to play with. So this month's ephemera drop was by Nicole. We're going to work in our journal. Here's that sticker set that we're supposed to use, and then let's open this and see what we have to work with. So already I'm seeing some cool vintage paper. Oh, there's a beautiful card that she made. I love that. We have some stamps and some cogs and a card with some twine and numbers and some more fun papers. So I'm kind of getting some ideas going as I'm looking through what I have to work with this month. So I'm going to set this off to the side and let's get started. So I have this jean page, but I'm not really feeling like I want to work on it. And then I've got these two open pages, well, not open, but the watercolor paper and then that weird kind of burlappy stuff. So I'm going to tape the jean page to the back side of this watercolor paper. And I'm just using some double-sided tape. This is, I call it Suquang because that's the name brand, but I think it's like score tape. And you can get that off of Amazon. Everything that I use will be linked in the description box below, so you can find it down there if you are interested in checking it out. So I'm going to give this a good press, and I'm also going to brayer over top of it to make sure that that tape really sticks tightly. And I'm not really sure what I want to do this month. While I'm thinking, I thought I'll go ahead and sketch a girl. I had thought maybe I will do like one of those birds and she could be holding the bird in her hand. So that's sort of where I'm going here. And I have to say, this paper is not fun to sketch on at all. It is so rough that it's literally like catching the lead of my pencil and almost ripping the paper. Maybe if I used a different number 2, but in hindsight, and if I decide to do any more drawing in the future on these pages, I'm going to stick with what I did last month, which was use that graphite and transfer the drawing over. But I wanted you guys to kind of see just how I sort of sketched out my vision here. And so I'm just trying to, you know, work in where I want everything. But you cannot, this paper, you cannot erase on either. I'm kind of starting to have a not very happy relationship with it, but I'm going to keep working it because, you know, sometimes the things that we don't like end up being things that we really enjoy in the end. So I'm just going to keep pushing myself. I decided to go ahead and grab a Sharpie marker and draw her in. That way you could actually see what she looks like because the pencil was so faint. So I have that. I don't know what I'm going to do with this flap yet, but I'm just going to work on the other pages. And one of the things we had to use was the liquid inks. So I'm going to go ahead and use a bunch of different inks and some fluorescent orange paint as well, and then just paint around these pages. So I'm just building up color. I wanted it to be kind of like, you know, in the fall you have those really crisp evenings and the sunset. So I was sort of feeling that with the purples and the orange. And I really like the texture that the paper gives, but I really don't like painting on it. So I'm going to stick with all the positives here. So I'm just going to keep building up this color. And now I have the stamp that I want to use, and I'm going to sort of figure out how it's going to sit in her hand. I kind of want to cover it. I'm thinking I'm going to use this page sort of like a little covering, like a doorway, and then it'll open and it'll reveal the bird. I'm not really sure, but you know, this month one of the things is to cut into the pages and use them. So I got my fingers crossed, and we're just going to see where this takes me. As I'm cutting it out, I'm deciding I definitely can't leave it that color, so I think I'm going to bring back the inks and the paint and try and make it blend a little bit more into the background. Well, it's not a perfect blend, but it's definitely better than that beige color. So what I think I'd like to work on next is her dress. And I'm going to use that ledger paper, and grabbing a piece of graphite transfer paper, I'm just going to take a bamboo dip pen and go ahead and push, kind of trace around the outside of the dress and her arm. And this is going to give us a lovely transfer. So it'll take the guesswork out of trying to figure out, you know, like, have you ever cut and then kind of moved it to make sure you're in the right place, or glued it down and then cut around it? Oh, that's just a nightmare. So this is definitely a very easy way to do this, and we'll just test it out there, and look at that, we have a perfect fit. But before we glue that down, I think I'm going to go ahead and paint our girl here. I'm using one of my new favorite colors. This is Titan Mars Pale from Golden, and it is a heavy body acrylic, excuse me. And it's a lovely kind of pinky peachish shade, and that's great for a base color of a skin tone. And then you can add on darker colors on top of that for your shadows, or some lighter ones for your highlights. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint this on. I'm going to paint her hair using some brown, and then I'm also going to bring in some oil pastels, which I've really been enjoying playing with, you know, just kind of adding hints of color and using them for shading. sometimes when I'm feeling unsure of the proportions of the face, I will flip it upside down, because there's nothing like looking at a face, and if you look at it upside down, you go, you know what, that looks right, the angles look right, okay, and then you can flip it back around and you feel a little bit more confident in how everything is laying out. So now I just have a black pen here, and I'm just sort of darkening up some of those areas that got a little bit lighter, and outlining the girl here. And then when I feel like I have that good, we're going to go ahead and glue her dress on with some Oohoo glue stick. So as it's vintage paper, I'm adding some clear gesso over the top of that. I'm not really sure what we're going to do with the dress, but this will make it, give it a good surface, so that way if we want to paint over it, it's not just going to soak up all of that into the dress. And now we're going to bring that bird element in, and I have the little cute doily here that Nicole gave us, and it's kind of that pretty bluish, purplish color. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out. And then give it a little bit of decoration with some gold and some white gel pen. And then when she's in the hand, so I'm kind of measuring it out. And then when we flip over, it's like she's got the golden orb in her hand, and then it goes to the other side, and then it's like the sun setting, and then you can see the bird. And now I'm just adding some collage elements. Oh man, this was one of those projects that took me days. Literally, and that usually doesn't happen, but I find that this time of year I struggle so much with feeling creative or wanting to create, and I used to beat myself up about it, and now I realize that this is just a time for me to slow down, to kind of soak in the stuff that I've learned, the things where I'm going, kind of get some inspirational ideas. So this, I was feeling like it was a bit of a hot mess. But I used a lot of the different collage elements. I wanted to do something with that other page. I think if it was one page, I would have been totally happy with her. But I had to do something with that left side. I just didn't know what. So I have the collage elements, and they are really sticking out to me. So I'm taking some more of the liquid ink, and I'm going to go over top of them to try and push them into the background. So they're not, they feel more a part of the background, and not just like sticking out like sore thumbs. So that's what I'm doing here with kind of like the bluish purple color, and then I'm going to bring in some black fluid acrylics, and we're going to deepen that even more. So I gave the birds some golden musical notes, like it was singing her a little song, and I'm adding a little bit of some oil pastel that's of like a fluorescent yellow, and now I have a beautiful yellow chalk pastel because, you know, that orb is going to be adding some of that shining light onto her. And so I'm just adding that into her outfit and then onto her face. That's one of my favorite things is, you know, how light hits us and adding that in to kind of bring her alive. And now I'm just taking some of that fluorescent kind of orangish color and also some gold paint and just splattering it around. Seriously, I was like, I don't even know what else to do, but you can never go wrong with splatters. The page for me, you know, the feeling was kind of like nature's all around us. We need to listen. You know, there's magic in the everyday, the magic of the sky. You know, it's fall now, so it's getting darker earlier. You know, just kind of all of that. It's not really like a super fall themed page, but to me, it's fall, like this, the emotion of fall. And now I'm just taking a little bit of some black charcoal and also a beautiful purple blue pastel and sort of running it over the top. And then I've got some of those Tim Holtz awesome little sentiment words here. So we have shine brightly, see the world from your heart, which I think is always so important. You know, always look out and, you know, instead of being so judgmental, just feel it from the heart and love everyone, send love and light out to all. And I thought I was done, and then I remembered, oh my gosh, I never used bubble wrap. That was my element that I brought to this month. So I had to laugh at myself, and I found some bubble wrap, and I just took a little bit of that black paint and dabbled it on, and then also some of that bright orange. I kind of brought it back into the sky, and then also into the little either sun or the moon or the golden orb, whatever it is that she's holding in her hand. And that kind of, you know, gives it a little bit of dimension as well, a little bit of texture. And that stuff is so hard to work with because it leaks through, but then the paint doesn't actually get onto the other side very well. I don't know, it's the weirdest stuff. But I did it. Hallelujah. We finished the page. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today on this month's Menagerie video. You know, I think the takeaway for me this month is that we don't always have to like what we create. We may not feel that we want to create, but the most important thing is just to get into that space, grab your supplies, and just have at it. It's such a cathartic feeling when you just get that stuff put down. So that is what we did this month. If you would like to join us, be sure to use the hashtag over on Instagram so we can all see your fantastic work. And don't forget to check out both Laura and Nicole's videos to see what they did with this month's prompts. Much love and light going out to you all. And until next time, happy creating.